Welcome to UA Live. I'm Jessica Stelzer.
And I'm Alex Chris. Coming up in the show, we look at an exciting milestone for UA Rise, CBJ's historic run, and the Nor'wester staff's trip to Cali.
Brandon Sago was a 2009 graduate of UAHS. He attended Ohio Wesleyan University where he played baseball, majored in art, and was president of the Sigma Phi Epsilon fraternity. Brandon worked as a graphic designer and wore bow ties to work every Tuesday. He was tragically killed by a reckless driver on Riverside Drive on New Year's Eve in 2015. On Tuesday, May 14th, students and staff are asked to wear a bow tie to honor Brandon's memory. This date occurs twice a year, in the spring and the fall.
Speaking of spring, students have the opportunity to go to Scotland over their spring break. Applications for the Scotland Exchange Program are due on Thursday, May 16th. Students from St. Andrews College will visit UAHS in October of 2019, and our students will travel to Scotland the following spring break in March of 2020.
Also on May 16th, the UAHS Vocal Music Department hosts its free annual spring concert at 7 p.m. The concert includes music from the freshman choir, concert chorale, symphonic choir, and both men's and women's glee.
On April 11th, the high school coffee shop UA Rise Cafe celebrated their 10th anniversary. Allie Hartram reports on the student-run business.
In the busy halls of Upper Arlington High School, sleepy high schoolers look for a pick-me-up at the local coffee shop, UA Rise Cafe. On April 11th, 2019, UA Rise Cafe celebrated their 10th anniversary. Sophomore Isabella Wood is a UA Rise regular and shares her experiences buying from the high school cafe.
I just like the convenience of it. It's just, even though it's a little more expensive than like some other coffee shops, it's like right there. I don't have to worry about building into my schedule to go someplace else and go through a drive-through. I just go in there, and yeah, like the people are super nice, and it's just like it's kind of part of my routine now.
The shop is employed by UAHS students who sign up for the Career-Based Intervention Program known as CBIP. This class makes the students the owners, managers, and employees of the UA Rise Cafe. Senior Micah Sassoon-Myers shares her experience working at UA Rise.
I've been working here for technically 2.5 years, but last year I helped out, so we'll just put 3 years. Experiences I've learned is probably how to work with like a bunch of people and doing a lot of things, multiple things at the same time, and you get to do every station. So like we have register and blenders, frozens, hots. Once it's really busy, it can be stressful, but as long as you have like a rhythm to it, then you can get it down pretty easy. So
UA Rise is open Monday through Friday before school and during lunch periods. There are many options on their menu for an array of drinks. This has been Ellie Hartram reporting for the WARL.
If you're interested in signing up for the CPIB in your high school career, contact your counselor and see where you can fit it into your schedule.
Ambassadors of Change is a student leadership opportunity that focuses on making UAHS a place where all students feel comfortable and included. Any 9th through 11th grader interested in joining the program should attend an informational meeting in the ALL during 4th and 5th periods on Tuesday, May 14th.
As the year is coming to an end, current juniors are being elected to senior leadership positions for the 2019-2020 school year. Max Buckley reports on the competitive race for next year's Bear Den presidents.
As the class of 2019 begins the process of graduation, so does the process of choosing new presidents for the Spirit Club at the high school, known to many as the Bear Den. One of the current presidents, Thomas Buck, shares how he got involved with the club and eventually became president.
So I joined Bear Den because Senor was my Spanish teacher, and he said I needed to start showing up to Bear Den. I didn't get, none of the other presidents approached me, which I'm not bashing them, but Senor said you need to start coming to Bear Den, and he did it to where I needed to make up a test. He said you need to come to Bear Den first, then make up the test after. So that's how I got involved in Bear Den, and then I was lucky enough to get selected to be a president.
Current junior and aspiring Bear Den president Duncan McDonald shares why he wants to become a president and what tasks are asked of all those hoping to be elected.
I want to be a Bear Den president because I think it'll be cool to be a part of a club, and this is one of the clubs that interests me because I like sports and activities like that, and just going to games and cheering on my friends in every sport that they play, which is pretty cool. Some of the tasks we have to do would be like hosting our own meeting for Bear Den to see what it's like. about our game of the week. And then we also get like challenges throughout the week of like, if some parent complained to you about not getting enough support, what would you do about it? And see how you would handle things like that and stuff that would go on when you're a Bear Down president. So I've been trying to do my best at that, you know.
My favorite part about Bear Den, I think, is just being a president itself. It helps getting into all the games for free, but I definitely enjoy hanging out with CJ, Maddie, Logan, Elizabeth. Those guys know what they're doing. I'm just along for the ride, so it's an easy place. It's an easy place to be.
This has been Max Buckley reporting for the WARL.
After much suspense, the current presidents will be announcing the 5 juniors who will be next year's Bear Den leaders on May 14th. These students will lead pep rallies, game stunts, and get the crowd going wild.
Now to community news.
Hi, I'm Peter Zelnick.
And I'm Will Reynolds. China Dynasty, located in Upper Arlington, officially closed its doors after its Mother's Day buffet. The restaurant was a community favorite for 32 years. The owners closed the restaurant so they can retire.
On Saturday, May 11th, there was an antique car show at Kingsdale Shopping Center. With a wide variety of cars, this event was put on to help the Upper Arlington Police Academy alumni raise money for the Pancreatic Cancer Action Network.
Upper Arlington Parks installed an AED device in one of the community parks, Kiwanis Park. Each AED unit is connected to a 911 and will immediately call 911 when it is lifted from the case. This was put in because of a donation from Kiwanis Club of Northwest Columbus of $4,000 and UA alumni Kevin McClanahan, who raised $700.
The Upper Arlington Middle Schools joined together for Hoops for a Cure on April 26. Maria Manessi reports on this event.
Hastings and Jones Middle Schools came together for the 12th annual Hoops for a Cure to benefit the Stephanie's Family Fund. The event raised $5,000 this year. Teacher Andrew Huber talks about this special event.
It's a great way to get the community together and be able to support a good cause.
Each year, Upper Arlington High School hosts the event in the varsity gym. Pre-game tickets and t-shirts were sold at the middle schools and high school, and the Upper Arlington Pep Band performed. The event brings the rival middle schools together where they compete in a fun basketball game. Traditionally, staff members were the only ones on the court, but one student is excited about the new competition.
With my friends Sydney and Catherine, they're really funny costumes.
It's fantastic having kids involved, and we need to include more of the high schoolers.
Jones beat Hastings this year with a final score of 59-42. This has been Maria Manessi for the WARL.
The Loved Community event was successful this year and will be successful for many years to come.
On May 19th, the UA City is holding the 2019 Wall of Honor ceremony at 3 p.m. at the Municipal Building. There are 2 people being honored at the ceremony, Lawrence Hughes and Blaine Sickles. To be honored, they must be deceased, living in UA for a period of time of their life, and most importantly, they need to have made an important contribution to the city, state, or nation.
When the Blue Jackets were on a roll between round 1 and 2, they opened their practice for all fans on April 20th. Annie Ranke attended the event and took a look at the scrimmage.
On Monday, April 22nd, the Blue Jackets Major League Hockey team hosted a free open practice for fans to enjoy. The Blue Jackets split their team in half and scrimmaged for 2 30-minute periods. According to the Columbus Dispatch, 5,500 fans showed up to cheer on the players. Blue Jackets fan Ryan Jackson shares his excitement for the team.
I've been a Jackets fan pretty much my whole life. I've grown up in Columbus, around Columbus, so I've always came to games to watch. And I'm really excited that we've made it past round 1 for the first time.
TJ Ansley, head of digital media and social and digital coordinator Anthony Alaco, shared their insight on how the open practice came to be.
So I believe our president of hockey operations, JD, John Davidson, just wanted to get the guys fresh, and we haven't played a game in 6 days and probably won't play another 4 or 5 days. So we have enough bodies to play, so they just went out there and played.
They wanted to bring the fans in. I think Coach Tortorella said that these guys are performers. They'd rather play in front of fans than just the coaches. So I think that was a big part of it, was keeping them fresh and, in front of people.
And I think it's helped too. Like, a lot of people are off school today, so you can hear it. There's like 4,000 people here. It's awesome.
This event got the fans excited for historic round 2 of the playoffs for the Jackets. This has been Annie Ranke reporting for the WARL.
The Blue Jackets had a good run this season and are looking to go even further next season.
UAHS lacrosse player Riley Keene started her capstone by holding a bake sale at the girls lacrosse game on Saturday, May 11th. While she was defending on the field, she also raised money to buy Guatemalan kids lacrosse equipment. Riley will be traveling there this summer on a mission trip where she will teach kids to play lacrosse.
Upper Arlington is now providing pilot food waste composting program to residents. The goal is to decrease the amount of materials in the landfill. These containers are for items as in bread, dairy products, and meat. You could drop off a filled container to 3600 Tremont Road or 4100 Roberts Road. Go Zero, which is a nonprofit food scrap service, will empty the container at the drop-off locations every 2 weeks.
Now we toss it to sports with Annie and Rebecca.
Howdy Bears, welcome to sports.
May 10th through 12th, the Upper Arlington rowing team participated in the Midwest Scholastic Rowing Championships, where they won 8 medals and 5 boats qualified for the Scholastic Rowing Association of America National Championships in Nashport, Ohio. The boats going on to the championship are the Girls Freshman 8, Boys Junior 8, the Girls Varsity 8, Girls Varsity 4, and Girls Lightweight 4.
The track players had OCCs on Saturday, May 11th. The boys placed 3rd overall with 93 points. The girls also placed 3rd overall with 114 points. The boys and girls teams will run in districts preliminals Tuesday and Wednesday, May 13th and 14th, where they can qualify for district finals on Saturday, May 18th.
Girls track senior Heidi Heierman is officially the school's record holder for the 3,200-meter event. She ran the event in 10 minutes and 43 seconds on Friday, May 3rd.
The softball Bears regular season is coming to an end. Postseason is in full swing. The girls beat out New Albany 10-3 on May 8th to become sectional championships. I took a look at how the Lady Bears adapted to changes beyond their control this season.
The spring of 2019 is bringing changes to not only the high school but the sports teams as well. All spring sports besides boys tennis and volleyball are affected by the construction of the new high school. By far, girls softball has been impacted the most. I interviewed senior captain Sabrina Good to learn about the changes the softball team has been going through this season.
Right now we are practicing at Berliner, which is 25 minutes away. They make us take a school bus every day to Berliner, which is right by the dump in the highway, so it just smells like sewage the whole time.
Softball has also had to adjust their traveling and pregame schedule.
Well, usually pregame for away games, we'll practice in the freshman gym in HIP, but now that half of it's a weight room, we don't really have room to do that. And since everyone's trying to get into that little small sliver of the gym, we kind of just have to get on the bus and go. And then with practices, since we really haven't had like an easy, accessible place to practice, we kind of just makeshift, and times are really weird. And like we finished practice an hour early the other day, and the bus didn't show up to pick us up for like a long time.
The softball team has not only been going through changes with their practice, but games as well.
The Beekman Field's ready. We're going to be playing on Field 4, and there's a little parking area that people can park at for free, but I would love to see some people come out to some games, because we played a game yesterday and they had like 70, 80 fans there, and I've never played a game that big, and that'd be pretty awesome to see some fans out there, because I know softball isn't the most popular sport, but go Bears.
Athletic trainer Tom Evans explains the challenges of this spring season.
The biggest challenge is getting everything covered, like especially game-wise, making sure we have the athletic trainers in place at all home events, so everything is covered. That can be a challenge when you got 4, 5, 6 different things going on in 6 different locations or 5 different locations.
Even with all the crazy game schedules, the Lady Bears want you to show your support. Senior Sean Byrne came to cheer on the softball team and tells us about his experience.
So I came out to support the girls today, softball, and it was fun, or the game at least was fun, but the parking is miserable. It's just like I went to 6 different parking lots until I finally figured out which one I had to be at.
This has been Annie Ranke reporting for the WARL.
The softball Bears took on Groveport Madison in Davison semifinals on Monday, May 13th. The girls won 11-7. Advancing them to the district finals next weekend.
The baseball team won OCC Central Championships on May 6th for the first time since 2003, marking the 12th OCC title in the program's history.
The boys lacrosse team has a tradition of shaving their heads if they make it to the Final Four in the state tournament. With no home field this season, the boys lacrosse team
enjoyed a unique opportunity to play in the Ohio Stadium against Culver Prep. Will Reynolds reports more.
On April 20th at the Ohio State Stadium, the Upper Arlington boys lacrosse team faced the number 1 ranked team in the nation, Culver Academy from Indiana. Families, parents, and friends gathered for the tailgate at 4 p.m. with food, drinks, and the Dawson bus. At 6 p.m., the fans headed into Gate 16, the only gate for spectators to enter in. The game was free entry. At 4:15, the players began their warm-up, shaking out their nerves. Junior Duncan McDonald explains the difference from playing at Wellington.
It was definitely a different experience than playing at Wellington or our home field, and it was much louder than we expected, having all our fans there.
With lots of support from the community, Upper Arlington lacrosse fans packed sections 18 through 24 on the east side of the stadium. Stella Rankin expresses her thoughts on the game.
It's a good opportunity for the guys to play here because the high school team has never competed here before, and it creates a nice environment for the good competition against the best team in the country.
At the end of the first quarter, the Bears were down 2-4. At half, the Laxers got 1 more goal, while Culver made 4 more goals, making the score 3-8. In the end, they lost 6-15. The Bears were happy with their fight they put up.
We got to compare ourselves to the number 1 team in the nation, which was cool. Yeah, only losing by 9 single digits was good compared to Ignatius losing by 22.
Upper Arlington boys lacrosse team is currently ranked 4th in the state. On May 10th, the boys head to the Midwest tournament before they start their run for the state title. This has been Will Reynolds reporting for the WARL.
The boys won against the Kiski School 14-3 on Saturday, May 11th, and will start their run for a state title on Tuesday, May 14th against Kettering Fairmont at Wellington.
Girls lacrosse also had a big win that Saturday against Rockford, the number 2 ranked team in the Midwest. They beat the Michigan team 10-9.
Good luck to all of our spring sports as they continue their postseason games. Now to Lifestyle with Tad.
Welcome to Lifestyle. On Friday, May 10th, the Pokemon movie Detective Pikachu was released in theaters. According to USA Today, it almost beat out the Avengers Endgame at the box office this weekend. Taking inspiration from the popular game, the movie stars Ryan Reynolds as Pikachu and is about a boy who is searching for his father with the surprise aid of his wisecracking partner, Pikachu. On another screen, Upper Arlington High School junior Brooke Yoakum is the founder of Gift Pocket, an app that is able to convert gift card currency into a gift card of the recipient's choice. Gift Pocket was released to the App Store on April 26 and is free to download. Another one of our high school students, Emerson Watkins, spent her formative years abroad. Annie Ranke reports.
Emerson Watkins, a junior at Upper Arlington High School, has had quite the life already, only at the age of 17. From moving back and forth between Beijing, China, Emerson talks about her experiences.
So my dad, when he went there, he got a job at a headhunting company. It is an executive hiring firm that he worked at until about when I was in 5th grade. And then he started his own business, which is now Cornerstone, and it is doing great.
So we moved to China originally in 2005. I had just given birth to Emerson's youngest sister. So she was 8 months. Emerson was 3 and Jordan was 6. And we moved there for my husband's work and for the mission field. So we felt called to go there, but also knew that we needed to work to support our family.
While Emmy was living in China, she and her family moved all over, and that affected things like school.
We took the girls to visit their school. That was a little different. It was a private Chinese school that was, it was actually a government official or wealthy Chinese private school. So it was pretty elitist, and then our kids were the only Caucasians in that school. And I taught there at that school when we first moved there, so I could, number one, be near the girls, and then it also gave me extra spending money. So we could, while my husband was starting up his work, we had money to support, and it helped with our tuition as well.
Much different than the one she had in America.
And then 5th grade I came to Barrington, and that's when I realized how big the difference between Chinese public schools and American public schools were, because I learned how to procrastinate in America, and I learned you didn't have to sit up straight like you're in the military.
Emerson's fifth grade year, her family decided to move back to China.
My mom specifically was not happy with going back. But my dad was starting his business, so we went back, and I remember that time fondly. Like middle school, I grew a lot as a person. Well, it was different every place we moved because we moved pretty drastically, and whenever we moved, I would change schools. So for the most part, I changed schools every year before I moved back here for that 1 year in fifth grade. So we first lived in a neighborhood called Lee Lemon Lake, which is where most of the foreigners were. And then we moved to Yosemite.
Besides from education and school, she and her family were also busy helping out with orphanage and mission work.
Once we got there, we realized, during the weekends we were part of a church. It was only, foreigners were only allowed to go. You had to show your passport, and it was recorded and all of that. So through that community, we got connected with some orphan relief, orphanages, foster homes, where we started volunteering on the weekends, and we would take the girls and our family and we would just go and play with the kids.
Throughout the adoption process, Emerson's mom realized the troubles and struggles these kids had to go through and decided to do something about it.
When we felt that we were called to adopt, and so we started the adoption process. And through adopting while we lived there, we realized that, number one, the kids, obviously in the foster homes and the orphanages, they just need more interaction on a day-to-day basis, and that just wasn't provided there. So that was part of it. And then obviously kids need families, and so we decided to start the adoption process, which took a very long time. It took about 3.5 years from the start of when we finally submitted our paperwork.
So I remember my mom saying, like, I know you love that little girl, but there's another little girl who needs a lot of your love. And I was like, okay. So we went to a different orphanage, and I didn't even realize until that moment we were bringing her home that day.
Emerson's family decided to move back after her 8th grade year, and she talks about how living in China has affected her today.
I just don't know if I can live in America for the rest of my life. I just really don't think I can. Like, especially just being in high school right now, I can't connect with anybody fully. It's the weirdest feeling because I don't share certain things with these people who have lived in UA, grew up in UA, know kids from the beginning. Slowly I've gotten better, especially since summer. I've been Miss Cornwall, I have her for drawing right now, honors drawing. I was in her painting class in 10th grade the first semester, and she's now she told my mom, she's like, I don't even recognize her. It's the completely different person, because I'm a really bad introvert. But when I'm at school, that's my social time. It's social time. I like being friendly because I might as well be nice to people,
This has been Rosalind and Rinky reporting for the WARL.
The Associated Press reported that in honor of Mr. Rogers, that's Fred Rogers from Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, May 23rd is now known as a Day of Kindness. The date, May 23rd, was chosen because it is the 143rd day of the year, and Mr. Rogers' favorite number was 143, reflecting the number of letters in each word in the phrase, I love you. Now back to where we started at Maine.
Are you interested in looking at the 300 and some pages of this yearbook? This year, Norwester printed 1,250 books and sold 1,233 books, which means there are only 17 yearbooks left to buy. Any students that forgot to order a yearbook can purchase an extra for $80 in room 221 on May 21st at 7:30 a.m. while supplies last.
For the 1,233 UAHS students that ordered the 2019 Norwester, they will be distributed on Monday, May 20th from 9:30 to 3:15 in the auditorium lobby. Make sure you bring your student ID when picking up your yearbook.
For next year's book, the Norwester staff got new insight by traveling to the 2019 Spring JEA Convention. I traveled with them to see what they learned on this trip.
On March 24th, the 2020 Norwester editors and their advisor Carol Hemmerly hopped on a plane and headed to Anaheim, California.
It was actually a pretty long day. We all went to the airport at 2:30 and met up at 3:15 at the desk. And then our flight was 5 hours.
Once they finally got to their hotel, they were excited for the experience they were about to have. These students were in town for a JEA convention held at the Anaheim Convention Center.
The day before the convention, these students were welcomed by looking at booths that were about anything journalism related. From printing companies to journalism colleges, these students were able to learn more about journalism and yearbook in the real world and even got a few souvenirs. The convention included sessions with speakers, presenters, and real-life journalists. These sessions were held on Friday, April 26th and Saturday, April 27th. At these sessions, the topics ranged in various ways. A few examples included marketing strategies, journalism after high school, jumpstart into a new theme, how to shoot better photography, and how to be a good leader and editor.
So our first session was really fun. We got a lot of new ideas for what we could put in next year's book, and a lot of ideas for the new staff, and it's been a pretty good day.
The Nor'wester staff went to these sessions in hope of getting new inspiration for an improved yearbook next year. The students and their teacher were able to develop a new theme and change how they wanted the class to work next year. There were around 3,000 students that attended this convention. For some of these students, this convention was just a field trip, and for others, it was a plane ride away. The editors were also able to meet with a pro that helped them on how they could improve their book and gave them new ideas. When these students weren't at the convention, they were traveling around the Anaheim area. They visited places like the Packing District in the Center City, Downtown Disney, and Huntington Beach.
Huntington Beach right now on a little walk. We just took some pictures. We got some lunch at Mimi's Cafe, very yummy. Recommend it if you ever come here. And now we're gonna go walk on the pier. Yay. So yay!
These students gained knowledge about yearbook while also experiencing an area across the country.
We're back in Columbus. Louder. We learned a lot over the trip about journalism and
how to use social media to promote things and inspire others to buy our products.
It's been a long trip.
Long trip!
If you're interested in yearbook, journalism, and getting involved with your community, make Journalism 3 Nor'wester a part of your schedule next year.
Have a lot of ideas coming for your next year's edition. For our next yearbook. Go Bears!
This has been Jessica Stelzer reporting for the WARL.
During the trip, the staff brainstormed and decided to make next year's yearbook theme Planning Ahead. They also want to incorporate more in-depth interviews, a more organized class, and a better content than past years.
Look out for our staff next year and all the big changes. That's it for this edition of UA Live. Thanks for tuning in. See you next time.
I am lost in the clouds.